Welcome, my friends, to my art studio down in downtown Carmel. Thank you for joining me. And I'll be reading chapters 3 and chapters 4 from my book, since they are short. So I hope you enjoy. And if you like this, please press that like button. And if you like my content, please subscribe. I'll be reading this whole book throughout the time here, and I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 3, Meeting the Wise, Discernment. We stood in front of a woman sitting with legs crossed, eyes closed, dressed in a white sari. She seemed not to breathe at all, and a radiance of peace shone from her face. Yama stood over her and whispered into her ear, yet she made no signs that she heard. He returned to where I stood. "What did you say to her?" I asked. I told her she was missing out in life, so many pleasures going by. Then I reminded her of her family and all those who needed her, and how she was abandoning them, neither moved her. Suddenly a group of men and women came up to her, each one carrying a savory dish, which they laid at her feet. "Ah, my servants," Yama said. "Excellent cooks they are." The aromas from the food made my mouth water and stomach growl. However, she seemed completely oblivious to their presence. Then a young man appeared holding a bouquet of flowers. With great eloquence, he sung poems to her in her honor, praising her saintly qualities. Still, nothing happened. When he disappeared, a gang of urchins ran up to her and yelled a stream of abuse and even threw mud on her white sari. Their jeers and taunts elicited no response from her. Yama waved his arm, and the sun grew brighter, and under it all began to welt. My breath seemed to dry my insides. However, the woman still sat unmoved. Another wave of his arm, and the sky opened in a deluge of cold rain, with still no effect upon her. "How can this be?" I asked. "Is she dead?" "We shall see." Yama's sword appeared in his hand, and holding the unsheathed blade, swung it at her neck. Through a flinching gaze, I saw the blade pass through her. "She's a ghost!" I cried. "No," he answered. "Quite the opposite. I cannot touch her. No thing can." Onto his knees, Yama, to my surprise, prostrated before the woman. "She is a liberated one, free from life and death, beyond all the pains of opposites. She is a sage, established in the infinite self. Come, and I will show you another liberated one." We walked into a royal courtyard. All around us, people scurried about, being directed by a king. Gold shone everywhere, as well as gems of every color. Beautiful maidens surrounded him. "Here is another one." "This king?" I asked incredulously. "Yes, this king. But he's totally different than the other one." The woman. "Look at him. He's surrounded by opulence. Certainly he looks happy. Who wouldn't be?" "Let us see if he's really different," Yama said. All of a sudden, time began to speed up. Those maidens who were praising and taking care of him now began cutting him to pieces with their angry tongues, complaining about this, refusing to do that. Ministers whispered behind his back in conspiracies, their hands secretly dipping into the royal coffers. Upon a battlefield, his once powerful army became routed, and the invaders stormed to the castle. Flames danced about everywhere. The king sat upon his throne while all around people ran in panic. The invaders came in and made the king prisoner, throwing him into a dark dungeon. Years he spent in the darkness alone, yet not once in all that time did the light in his eyes diminish. He looked at peace. I said, "Despite all these calamities, the king still looks happy. Besides his environment and the rags he wears, he really appears no different." And so it is with the sage, who is ever content, no matter where he appears to be. He may seem active or inactive, yet he is neither and both. We both prostrated to the king. Chapter 4. The making of a sage, discrimination. I asked, Yama, you have shown me delusions and why men suffer, and have shown me ones who have conquered you. Please, you, the great teacher of all men, the reminder of how short our lives are, tell me how to become a sage. It is most difficult state of being to achieve, and yet the easiest. It is difficult, for all the world must be given up as worthless in providing happiness. All that one possesses must be seen the same. One must see that all things are transitory, merely ripples upon the pond of life. This includes the mind, the creator of pleasure and sorrow, of dreams and goals, of nightmares and monsters. To see the mind as not valuable in providing happiness and avoiding pain is most difficult of all. It is the easiest thing to do, for to be a sage, all you need to do is to be yourself, is to be your true nature. Well, are not most of us being ourselves? I asked. Yet I look around at the world and I do not see any who shine with such peace as these two. No, most of those walking around are not themselves. They are slaves, told by their minds that this and that will bring them joy, and so they spend their waking moments thinking about what they have gained and what they hope to acquire, while the mind then whispers about those things to avoid, those people to fear, and dreams up so many schemes to avoid them. It is from the beginning that one seems to be born. The mind of the world, Maya, begins to spin its web. The adult, already caught in its power, direct all activity, and thinking to teach the child that she is but a body. Oh, how cute you are, they coo. Hurrah, you are 2 years old, etc., and so on. And soon, around 2 to 3 years of age, the wisdom of her knowing dims in her eyes, and she says, I want this. This is mine. And for the rest of her life she will live in the delusion of the mind which has been programmed to believe that she is a body. And to take care of this body, the mind tells her the things she cannot live without. Since she believes these things are expedient for her happiness, that she is not whole without them, for if she had them she would feel complete. Deep down inside, the mind lies with the belief that she is her desires. She must be, if they would make her complete. And since the mind is her greatest need, for without the mind, she, that is, her body, would be cut down by me. She believes that she is the qualities of her mind as well. So all her desires, fears, habits, deeds, thoughts, feelings, appearances, talents, ambitions, knowledge, shortcomings, secrets, associations, friends and family, enemies, acquisitions, loss, and on she identifies with. They become her in her mind. All that she says is mine becomes her. She is lost. And then I come, her greatest fear, and tap her on her shoulder, and it is time to start all over again. And the sage? What is the difference? I ask. The sage may not look differently on the outside, yet if you have the grace to spend time with her, you will know the difference. Yama pulled out his sword, the blade shining with a great light, its edge straight and sharp. This is the greatest sword of all swords, the mightiest weapon of all weapons. It can destroy the world and all worlds. It can slay demons. It can even destroy the mightiest of gods. What is its name, I asked. Discrimination. Yama said, all those who look me in the eye and choose the path of the sage must learn to wield it. The sage wields it, slicing away all the minds, and I am that, uttering the sacred words, I am not this, I am not this. All is cut away. All those people and things held dear, and all those repulsed and feared. Every event gone and to come. Every type of body in her life, the infants, the childs, the youths, the adolescents, the adults, the elders, and finally the corpses. As well as every life past and every life to come. Every emotion that rises between joy and sorrow. Every thought, memory, idea, dream, and fantasy, whether they be lofty or base. Finally, she comes to the place of severing herself from the notion, I am. Well, what is left if she is not any of those things, I ask? She simply is. I nodded, my head pensively, at the sublime words of Yama, but my mind could not find anything to hold on to. Is what? I again inquired. Is absolutely, without any qualifications, impervious to the touch of time, in the happiness and bliss of knowing and being the absolute truth, becoming and being the one that has no other outside itself, the one consciousness that resides in all beings and in all things, yet which cannot be pointed to because it is no object, no thing fixed in time. She is the self of all selves. God? I asked meekly. Yes, God. That state of being has many names and no names, since no word can describe it. It is like describing colors to the blind or sound to the deaf, snow to a desert nomad, or a kiss to a born hermit. All words are of the mind, and the place where resides the sage is far beyond the mind. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a blessed day, and be yourself.